So yesterday was a pretty quiet day on the SPYs. After filling the gap on Tuesday, we gapped higher yesterday. We did the gap fill right here at around 10 o'clock. It was a really tight range. Under $1, which is under 0.5%. So we zoom out. It's basically 275.40 and 275 is the support area the last 3 or 4 days. Other than when we gapped below that level, but you can see here and here. Once we got above it, 275.40, and then again yesterday. $276.60 resistance to 277. This is the range we have to work with for today. And we're actually already down there. What is this? I guess around the London Open we came down here, so into this band. So maybe we'll get a retest on the Open. We'll see if we work our way back up to here. IWM just keeps going higher. So we finally closed above that 168 a couple of days ago, actually 2 days in a row. Even though we closed above it, the next morning this was the gap down day. Failed there in the Open, but closed back above it, right at the high. And then yesterday gap up, and I guess we touched 169 on the Open, and now we're at 170. So let's step out and look at this a little bit more. So we moved sideways for a while, moved to higher level, moved to higher level. Now it looks like we're setting up, just stepping up, moving sideways, stepping up, moving up sideways. All right, let's start with Kroger, KR. So there was a lot of stuff in play this morning. The 4 that I chose, pretty liquid names, doing good volume already in the pre-market. Kroger is a stock that's been beaten down quite a bit the last couple of years. It had a really nice run from 2013 to 2016, from close to $10 up to 40. This was the crash in August of 2015 right there. It started to trend lower. Then I think this was like the Amazon news maybe. Amazon saying they were going to get into groceries. The numbers continue to be pretty good. I was actually surprised that it went down as much as it did the last year or so. I thought 25 was oversold and went all the way down to 20. And then it kind of worked its way back up to 30 again, made a higher low. Now we're gapping up this morning above 28. So maybe this is the beginning of it finally starting to get back into the 30s. So definitely some serious resistance in this area here. Let's take a look. So here's the initial reaction, took it above 28. 28.80, came back down, did the little 28 test, and made the new high. So buyers are in control. And this is a liquid one, and it's also, it has a 50-cent ATR, but I found it can move up and down $1, $1.50 in the first couple hours when it reports. And that's it can be a little tricky, but if you get in at a good level and you just catch it once, for example, if like there was a click flush to here, and you caught the long back up to 29, that'd be pretty good. The other thing is, if you pick some up down here, this area here, and you catch the quick move back up to 29 and the pullback is shallow, and then it takes out the opening high, either in the 10 o'clock or later, you might get that move to $30. First thing, what I put on the sheet for resistance, 29, 29. First thing it has to do is it has to take out this 29 to 29.30 resistance. 29.30 I probably get off the daily. So this will be the first, I'll trade from this area here fading to this area here fading, and then kind of see if it breaks one way or the other outside of this range. It's a pretty good range to work with. Normally trades 13 million shares on a day like today. It'll do 30 to 50 million shares. It's going to be extremely, extremely liquid. And if it shows the strength on the open and moves up here and gets really tight and breaks to the upside, play for a 30, 50 cent move, break to the upside. The next one is HRTX. This one, right, so they got some sort of designation from the FDA. They have a pain medication that can be given to people post-operative, post-surgery. And I think everyone knows that there's just a huge problem that's gotten worse and worse in the last couple of decades with opioid prescriptions. And a lot of opioids are given to people. I know from family members who've been in the hospital the last couple of years, they give you opioid to deal with the pain. There's a lot of pain, and a lot of people become addicted. So it's going to catch people's attention anytime there's an idea that there's a substitute for that type of medication. We looked at this. Here's the daily. We looked at this when it gapped up into the, where was it? Here, the last time. I don't remember the news here a few months ago, but it gapped up to 30. And then first move was up to 32. It looked like it was going to be strong on an intraday basis, but then it got back down below 30 and they sold it. It didn't fill the gap, but basically went down to 26.5 and was accumulated there for about 3 weeks before being accumulating above 30 again. So it's starting to look good. And then they sold it off in front of this news. So a lot of people actually sold it into this news. And I don't know, maybe somebody can put in the chat or check on the scanner what the short float is, but there's definitely people who sold off into this, and now it's gapping above 35. Right. So somebody actually put in the actual S&P chat. It's 18% short interest, which is a lot. And usually above 20, we start to say, hey, that's good. Above 30 is crazy, like Tesla. So it topped out $10 higher than where it did the last time it gapped up, 42 instead of 32. Came off $4, or actually almost $5 from the high. So we have quite the range to work with. It's traded 500,000 shares, which is 50% of its normal volume. It's going to do 10 million shares today, plus it looks like, maybe 20 million. So we have this range to start to work with here. 37, 30, 38. The lower high here at 41.30. I'm sure some people, when they see this lower high here, they're shorting it or flush down to here. Perhaps it'll actually get just tighter. 39.25 was being bought here, just touched it again. And hopefully this will compress and compress into the open, and we can play the break of the compression. $40 is always going to be a natural. So the way that I look at this right now is if it flushes into here, I want to see if it's bought. If it's bought here and then starts to hold back above 38, I'm looking for a bounce back up probably to 40, kind of where the seller stepped down here after topping out. If it comes up to 40 and fails, looking for it to come back down and do a retest at 38 area. After 10:30, if it's consolidating below 38, it's not a good sign for the buyers today. Probably working its way back to the mid-30s at that point. So 42 is huge on the weekly. The way I would look at this is if it gets back above $40 on the open and the first move is up, and even if it fails here at 41, but it's still holding above 40, I would be thinking long until it fails and it's holding below $40. Next one is Darden, DRI. As you saw, I put in the notes, I'm not sure why it was gapping up as much as it was. They're on the conference call. It's already come off a couple of dollars. Here's the daily. And the reason I don't understand why it's up as much as it is if we look at the daily, and I guess you can make the argument that in January it was up here at 100. And so it is down a little bit this year in the markets. Well, the market's not really up this year. Down like 5-6% for the year. So the numbers looked fine, and so you would say, okay, maybe it'll come up into this area, gap to this area here, but it's actually gapped like $5-6 above that, which doesn't make sense to me. Unless they're saying something on the conference call about big international growth, and which is, I guess, possible. I haven't seen anything yet. They're saying fast casual demand growing. So my thought process was it would come back down into this area here at a minimum. Normally trades 1.5 million shares. Easily do 5 to 10 million shares today. The 106 was the high in the pre-market, maybe a lower high here, 105 and 104.50. If first move is down, we open like this, and then it comes back up, I'd be shorting into this like here, looking for the move back down to 100, 101, and then kind of see what happens from there later in the day. The next one is MU. MU, so it ticked down initially when the news came out. I was bidding below 57. It only went to 57.50. There it is right there. Actually went to 57.25. I don't know if you could have gotten any there. Then the quick pop up, held a little bit higher. Wasn't around when it got back above 60. Now this morning, so just next 30 seconds. The battle that's going on in MU is basically, some people think it's a cyclical story like it's always been in the chip space, where as demand goes up, they buy too many chips, then there's supply and the prices go down and they make less money, versus people who are making a secular argument. A secular argument means there's a longer term big picture change going on. The best example I could give you in the tech space would be something like NVIDIA, which a few years ago gapped up from like 35 to 40, and then now it's like 250 or something like that. In NVIDIA, the reason why there was a secular growth story there was the machine learning and artificial intelligence growth the last few years. People are just really spending a lot of money there, and NVIDIA makes the chips to do that, the GPUs. I'm not sure what the argument in MU is in terms of the memory, why they think there's a secular growth story here. Maybe it's just the Internet of Things, everything's getting more memory, but whatever it is, people are making that argument, and some people think it's going to go to 80 to 75, $80 a share. Some people even think 100. Last couple of quarters ago, it went to here. Actually, I guess this was last quarter. It got to 64, then they sold off hard. I'm sorry, it was 2 quarters ago. It got up to 64. I was buying it into the 50s on that growth story. It went all the way back down to 47. It tested it again recently. Now it's up here. So it's basically 62 to 64. I think the buyers have now stepped up to the mid 50s. So we have kind of this range we're working with. If we start to see some closes above 64, 65, I think you'll see it go to $70 pretty quickly. For our purposes today, the battle is still on, and so we want to see 62. Yesterday's high was 61. Below that, it could go right down to here. I was pretty conservative. I didn't even put 61 on the sheet. I put 60 as really the first real support. And then on 60, it's 62, and then 63.70, which is kind of right into that 64 on the bigger picture. So right on the open, if it holds this 61 here and flushes below and you see it holding back above it, you can look for the upside to the pre-market high and see if it breaks out from there. Flushes on the open and actually can't get back above 61. I'd be making the play to here and then kind of seeing what happens from there. Yeah, I'm not, I don't know what the theory is there. Quickly, CLBS. CLBS, this actually came up in our meeting after the close yesterday. And I was looking at it purely from a technical, meaning it comes into 10, they support it, maybe it'll go back up to the pre-market high. In the meeting, one thing that came up was that they had a shelf offering for that if it moved higher, they could start selling shares. But then when I looked at the filing today, it looked like it was really small. So I'm not sure how much of that played into it. But regardless, when the first move came out, the news came out, it got to above $8. It started to move sideways. They were buying it here all, I guess, midday to the close around 870. So the way I'm looking at it is 8 to support, 870 resistance. If right on the open, the first move is above 870 and above $9, then my thought process would be like, okay, there's a lot of accumulation here yesterday. Maybe this is going to work its way back up to here. But what I'd love to see is if that happens, is it come back down, test the 870, it gets bought there again, and then gets above like 910, something like that. All bets are off. If it gets below $8 today and doesn't hold that 8 support, then perhaps it will erase the entire gap. The next one is Oracle. This was pretty wild. So we talked about the 44 long-term support in the morning meeting. If it could get back above it, it could have a nice bounce. So it did that on the open. It flushed. There was a large sell and bounce on the open around 400 or 500,000 shares. It flushed below 43.50. Big green bar, pulled back about 30 cents, then got above 44 and went all the way up to 44.80. I did flip it up there, just thinking maybe we would pull back to 44. I was off the desk when it actually got below 44 again. It took out the morning low and went down another $1. Actually, not another $1, about 60 cents. Didn't quite get to, I think I had a script to buy it into the next long-term support into 42.50, 42.55, but it never almost got there, missed it by about a nickel, and then had a 60-cent bounce. So I would look to see if it retests that low from yesterday. This is the next, when I was looking at the long-term chart, below 44, I had 42.50 as the next support. It looks like other people were targeting that, because it got close, it bounced a little bit, got a little bit closer, and then had the real kind of bounce. Buying into this area here makes sense to me. Selling it into 43.50, 44 makes sense. Let's see if it can move sideways for a few days and where it goes from there. And then Disney, I bought S1 on the open, and it bounced $1.50, came back down there again. I didn't buy it again. I didn't like how this failed here. It looked like to me the risk arb funds were actually starting to get shorted against Time Warner, get shorted against the raised bid for Fox A. And then some news broke in the middle of the day. So whatever these risk arb guys shorting, there's a lot of different players in this thing right now based on the news flow. And something happened here where people bought. The way I look at it is, if today you see it this morning consolidating above 108, I would make the play to 109.5, 110. If it fails at 108, perhaps it comes down and just tests 107. I'm not convinced that it will test the 106 again. But if it does, it actually takes out the low from yesterday. I think the next support is, I'm not sure what it is. It should be on the sheet from yesterday.
Hope you enjoyed that video. You can actually watch that video if you're subscribed to our Trader 90 before the market even opens. What stocks are in play? What levels in those stocks are important? And how we might go about attacking that stock. That's Steve Spencer, 20-year veteran trader, laying it out there every morning before the market even opens. A really, really powerful tool to start your session off on the right foot. So right now we're offering a trial that you can take advantage of to access this meeting and other meetings throughout the day. We have a meeting at 11 a.m. Eastern where you can sit down with Mike Bellafiore and listen to him talk about what's going on during the morning session, what stocks were in play, what the best trade opportunities were, as well as maybe some things that we're looking at heading into the afternoon session. So I really encourage you to take advantage of that trial.